Su Xun woke up to find that he had become a playboy in the novel through time travel. In 5 years, he will be killed by the male lead, and what's even more tragic is that his entire city will also be destroyed in the future. In order to change all of this, he began to change his life trajectory. Accidentally activated a system that can see other people's dandy index. The system not only binds the host, but also binds the fate of the male protagonist in the book to Su Xun. If you can't escape, accept it. Hold on to the male lead's thigh first, and use the system to plunder some scumbags with excessive dandy index. Become brothers with the male lead again and embark on a winding and surprising journey of cultivation together. Keywords of the novel. I'm really not a playboy. No pop-ups, I'm really not a playboy. Download the complete text, I'm really not a playboy. Read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Time Traveling and Becoming a Book. Playboy Children. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Time Traveling and Becoming a Book. Playboy Children. The autumn wind howled, blowing down the forks that supported the windows. With a clang, Su Xun woke up from his sleep. Shaking my head, my eyelids are so heavy. I stayed up late last night reading novels and felt like I was going to waste my time. Squinting his eyes and stretching lazily, Su Xun couldn't calm down anymore. As my vision gradually became clearer, when did my single room of less than 10 square meters become so spacious? Rubbing her eyes hard before looking back, she leaned back involuntarily. As she propped up the bed with one hand, she touched the soft, silky sheets. Sitting on the luxurious antique beds on both the inner and outer floors, looking back on that night when Su Xun, a female fashion guru, and a group of young ladies got drunk. Please be clear-headed. Looking around, the clean and tidy big house reminds people of the palace in the TV drama. Next to the right side of the bed is a mahogany velvet bed, but the bed is separated from the bed by a screen carved with flowers and birds. And diagonally across from the bed, by the window, there was a golden Nanma wardrobe, with exquisite floor-to-ceiling lamps of 18 branches placed on both sides of the wardrobe. The luxury of ancient people is really beyond the imagination of modern people. It is said that having fewer residents can easily lead to a dangerous house. Can the owner of this house pay attention to feng shui? Su Xun felt dizzy, and some fragmented memories forcefully entered his mind. I am clearly just a young man with a love for reading cultivation novels, and whenever I have time, I go to run a dragon trap to earn some extra money. A few days ago, I was thinking about whether the novel I'm currently reading, Death of a Dante, could be adapted into a TV drama or played a small role. Now you're wearing it yourself. Xianling Continent. Nanyang City. The protagonist. Randomly put on boots sewn from black bear skin under the bed, and as soon as you step on the soles, it feels soft and comfortable. My gaze locked on the mist mirror that stood on the dressing table, condensed with spiritual power. As I approached, a strange face appeared inside. Although she has scattered black hair, her overall popularity is rosy and radiant. Jianmei Xingmu has a face like a knife, but there is a shallow scar on the upper eyelid of the left eye. Not only did it not affect his appearance, but it also showed his heroic spirit. Isn't that right? Surprisingly not the protagonist. But rather the bullying and domineering offspring of Wan and Ku. In the early stages of the novel. Before he could finish reading the novel, a person walked in, which made him a bit flustered. Young lord, you have finally woken up. A maid in a long green dress walked in carrying a wooden basin, with tears still hanging on her thin and weak face. Before Su Xun could speak, the maid knelt down to the ground with a thud and moved step by step to plead with him, young lord, please let go of Qingyuan. He has been hanging upside down for 7 days and 7 nights, without even a drop of water entering. If this continues, he will die. Qingyuan. Isn't it the male protagonist in the novel who was brutally abused by Su Xun, persecuted by the Su family, and ultimately returned to seek revenge and destroy the entire city? Thinking about Su Xun 5 years later, he was truly miserable. He was tortured for a total of 7,749 days by being skinned, and his soul imprisoned. After death, the soul is suppressed in the back mountain and is subjected to mental torture every day. And this maid's name is Qingli, the younger sister of his adoptive father's family. In order to save his brother, he agreed to Su Xun's extremely abnormal request. He insulted her in front of Qing Yuan and handed it over to 300 subordinates to play with. This is not the most tragic. Su Xun's Playboy comes from 10 years of indulgence. The sudden loss of favor after spoiling leads to retaliation against social playboys. And his half-brother, who is also a half-brother, is a pervert, relying on his own cultivation to be higher than his brother, and also mentally tormenting these siblings. Of course, his fate was even worse than Su Xun. After Qing Yuan was rescued, his younger sister committed suicide with resentment. Where is the plot now? After sorting out my thoughts, I finally remembered it. Just 7 days ago, Qing Yuan came to redeem his younger sister with silver, and Su Xun's coveted Qingli Mai's not only refused to let him redeem himself, but also wanted to take over her as a maid. However, his younger brother also took a liking to her, and the two of them were deadlocked. Finally, he vented his anger on Qing Yuan. Coincidentally, their foster parents were seriously ill, and Qingli was willing to become a maid to the whole house and obtain 100 taels of silver. But when Qing Yuan returned home, he found that the two elderly people were already dead bones. He went to the Lord's mansion to demand an explanation, but to no avail, he was hung upside down. When his loved ones left him one by one, the disillusioned Qing Yuan disappeared on the road of blackening and never returned. The plot also follows the protagonist's counterattack, and Su Xun is not an absolute demon. He was just a target of the male protagonist in the original plot, just as Su Xun flipped the page and jumped to see the end of the first volume. At the thought of this, Su Xun's heart thumped for a moment. Looking down at the weeping green oriole, I couldn't help but want to slap myself twice. Young lord, as long as you agree to release your brother, Qingli will agree to any conditions. Please, let him go. Any conditions? Is it his younger brother's abnormal request of daily shift attendants not allowed to wear any clothes? No. Let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Xun took 3 steps and quickly rushed out in 2. As soon as I walked out of the room, the fragrant osmanthus wafted towards me. Looking around, the courtyard was filled with strange flowers and plants, as well as famous trees and immortals, which made me want to stop and admire. But Su Xun didn't have this mood. The protagonist Qing Yuan is hanging upside down under the big banyan tree in the backyard. If he doesn't go over, his younger brother may have to take the lead. Su Xun quickened his pace again, and Qingli, who was following behind, quickly caught up with him by lifting her skirt. Perhaps I'm not quite used to this body yet, and I can sweat profusely through the nave, main hall, and side rooms in one breath. The trees in this backyard are lush and there are many dead bones buried under them. Covering the sky and sun is very uncomfortable to watch. Here it is. Glancing for a moment, the ragged young man who had been beaten to the point of losing all his flesh tightly closed his eyes. And the 2 guards guarding him, upon seeing Su's arrival, immediately bowed and greeted him. One of them, with a mischievous appearance, couldn't see the situation clearly and wanted to invite credit. Young lord, this guy is still tough on the tongue, but I have already figured out a way to pry open his mouth. Pop. Get out of here. Su Xun slapped him, and the guard was directly thrown away. He bumped into the root of the banyan tree, feeling extremely aggrieved under his chin but not daring to speak up. You. Su Xun pointed to another guard and said, call the doctor from the mansion to my room and prepare the best medicinal herbs. Yes. Also, find a maid to take care of it. Guard. Despite his puzzled expression, the guard responded and went half-hesitatingly. Su Xun was really scared when he saw Qing Yuan again. This is the male lead. You must carefully put him down yourself. Su Xun used his spiritual power in his left hand, curling up a large leaf to form a vortex and supporting Qingyuan. His right hand gathered the wind to form a sword energy and cut the rope with a swoop. Brother! The Qingli rushed over and hugged her brother, crying uncontrollably. Feeling more comfortable, Qin Yuanxiang propped up his perseverance and opened his eyes. The moment his knife-like gaze touched Su Xun, it seemed to spark a spark. But his gaze turned slightly and he aimed at another well-dressed man behind him. That kind of icy cold, even more desolate than the autumn wind. The new book is here, so much support. Seeking collection and recommendation. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Dandy Index System. Has the golden finger come yet? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Dandy Index System. Has the golden finger come yet? You don't have to guess, that person is even more detestable than Su Xun. Take this pill first. Su Xun didn't want to delay or explain anything. He opened Qingyuan's mouth and fed him a small pill. Qingyuan wanted to resist, but at this moment he didn't even have the strength to speak. He only felt a cool breath flowing from his throat into his lungs. The dried-up cells throughout the body seemed to be reactivated, and every capillary followed in breathing. TSK 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 TSK. In order to please a servant girl, how could such a precious pill be fed to a commoner? He is really my good brother. Su Bai was already very average in appearance, but now her strange and sinister face is even more nauseating. It's okay to make people nauseous, but how did Su Xun see a blue box above his head? And the white font presented is clearly a mechanical system. Detected a Playboy, name. Su Bai, HP, 1500, spiritual power. 2100, realm. Late stage of Qi cultivation, Dandy Index. 380, weapon. Yin-Yang wheel, skill. Yin-Yang star absorbing technique. Of course I know about weapons and skills, but what is the Dandy Index? Ding. Detected the host rescuing the male protagonist, successfully bound to the Dandy Index system. P.S. Due to the male protagonist sealing the demon seed inside, please do not think of taking shortcuts to kill him. This will cause chaos throughout the Xianling continent. The host can use this system to plunder enemy attributes with a Playboy index of over 300, and the absorption rate will increase according to the host's realm. For beginner protection, the system teaches you to plunder for the first time hand in hand. Wishing you a pleasant plunder. The welfare of time travel has arrived. What does it mean not taking shortcuts to kill the male lead? Why did I kill him? Kill him, isn't the whole world plot in chaos? If he is strong enough, he is a worker. A beautiful smile appeared at the corner of Su Xun's mouth, adding some invisible power to his body. It's just a bit troublesome now. The system only says that it can plunder, but does not say what the enemy will do after plundering. Su Bai's crime does not last until death, but behind him are two attendants with excessive Dandy Index, hehe. Qingli, please send Qingyuan back to my dormitory for good health and recovery. Today, I have to clean my door. As Su Xun spoke, he quickly flashed his spiritual power and slapped one of the bearded attendants behind him. The system has locked the target, name. Zhangye, health. 3800, spiritual power. 3500, realm. Late stage of Qi cultivation, Dandy Index. 680, weapon. Axe, skill. 3 axes slash, the plunder is complete. In the moment of letting go, the big beard had turned into a cloud of dust and disappeared. However, Su Xun's body suddenly added a powerful force. When the warm current flowed into his whole body, he felt as comfortable as eating ginseng fruit. No, how can he be called a playboy as a servant? It can only be considered as arrogance and domineering, bullying people. Do not question this system. The system defines the dandy index as including people who may be infected with the dandy index, such as dog legs and followers. Kind reminder. The final interpretation right is held by this system. You must quickly improve your self-cultivation in the form of plunder according to the indicator of this system's dandy index. Puff. How domineering. Big brother, what are you doing? Su Bai suddenly turned around, and in just over a dozen breaths, her attendant disappeared, causing her to panic. What kind of cultivation is this? Even more evil than one's own yin-yang star-absorbing technique. Su Xun ignored him and saw another attendant beside him preparing to slip away. A quick step flashed past and pressed down on his heavenly spirit cover. And that attendant, without even a chance to resist, had already been plundered. The force that thrust into his body this time made him feel very uncomfortable, as if he had been pulled by the strong form again after undergoing major health care, and his muscles and bones were about to be torn apart. But that intangible power made Su Xun, who was in the middle of practicing qi, suddenly break through to the peak level. The power condensed in the dantian area forms a golden mist that lingers around the body, and the airflow turns into golden light, only disappearing in a flash. Su Xun. In broad daylight, you are so reckless. After losing 2 subordinates in a row, Su Bai was furious and used his spiritual power to prepare for action. But Su Xun quickly flashed behind him and slapped him heavily on the shoulder. This kind of pressure made Su Bai sweat profusely. After 3 days without seeing him, he was so terrifying. If he takes action on himself, I'm afraid, big brother, have something to say. I am your own younger brother. Su Bai's pale face and cheeks were dripping with beads of sweat, and every strand of cold hair stood up. The thin, blackened lips trembled slightly, and breathing slowed down. Now you know it's my younger brother. Su Xun lowered his eyes and looked at his trembling legs with a hint of amusement. Cowardly mouse generation. Where is he his own younger brother? He was the result of the poor girl's life brought back by the lord of the city who was engaged in various activities outside, and his father only found out later that he was not his own biological child. Over the years, I've had enough of this mother and son's anger, but now is not the time to kill. Just softly warning him in his ear, from now on, if you dare to step into my garden again, those 2 people just now will be your fate. Big brother, I swear. Su Bai raised 3 fingers in her right hand and said in a trembling voice, from now on, I will never covet any woman in your purple bamboo garden, nor will I provoke you, big brother. Although he said so, his eyes were filled with resentment. Good Su Xun, secretly cultivate evil methods. When my mother returns, I will make you look good. Don't think that I don't know, you're only interested in Qingli's beauty when you dominate her siblings. Given time, she still belongs to me. Power is also my own. Feeling the relaxation of Su Xun's palm power, Su Bai immediately launched a backhand attack, and the flames of the yin-yang wheel of sacrifice splattered everywhere in an instant. The black and white wheels spun rapidly, and the powerful airflow formed a bowl-sized vortex that bombarded them away. Ask for trouble on your own. Su Xun's weapons were not displayed, he just slapped them and bombarded the vortex with pure golden airflow. In an instant, Su Bai was knocked hundreds of meters away by her weapon and collided with the walls of the protective courtyard. Dark red fluid flowed out of his abdomen, and he held onto his stomach and cried bitterly. In the dantian area, blue light and mist scattered everywhere, and one's cultivation was completely ruined. Someone, drag him away. Yes. The 2 guards who rushed over at the sound didn't even know what had happened, only to see blood streaming all over the ground, while Su Bai, who was groaning in pain, was dragged away by them like a dead dog. Su Xun didn't have time to stay. The male protagonist's body hasn't fully recovered yet. If it weren't for holding on to this thigh, it wouldn't be easy to get around in this world. Just a few dozen breaths of time have turned back to my own dormitory. And Qingyuan was silently meditating on his bed, while his personal maid Hai Tang was healing his wounds behind him. This maid is not an ordinary person. However, at the age of 18, it is already the middle stage of foundation construction. In the original work, she was a demonic saint who lay dormant in the Lord's mansion of Nanyang City. In order to obtain the precious, heavenly demon umbrella, in the mansion. Concealing her strength, pretending to be a maid with low spiritual power, possessing a peerless appearance but deliberately pretending to be ugly, and covering her face with a veil all year round. I just didn't expect to, accidentally, save the male lead with wing bones, and become one of the male lead's harems. It seems that the male lead's 7-day immortality is also closely related to her. Seeing Su Xun's return, Haitang couldn't help but feel a bit shocked, but she didn't panic. Quickly withdraw your spiritual power and pretend to be physically exhausted. Sister Haitang. Qingli put down the towel in her hand and quickly stepped forward to help her get off the bed, but her gaze turned to Su Xun. Seeing that Su Xun was not surprised, she pretended that nothing had happened. Later, he casually said, "Young lord, the doctor has already come. Sister Haitang has low spiritual power, and if we try to luck her brother, she may suffer a lot of damage. Qingli is willing to take the things in her sister's hands to serve the young lord. Please kindly let her go back and rest. The new book is here, so much support. Seeking collection and recommendation." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Sure enough, soon someone came knocking on their door. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Sure enough, soon someone came knocking on their door. Looking at her uneasy expression, Su Xun also felt like laughing. The little girl considered the film quite carefully, but deliberately said that the spiritual power of the begonia is low. Isn't it that there is no silver of 300 taels here? Looking at the phoenix feathers of the crabapple, there was a worried expression on their face, and their clear and beautiful eyes were filled with the words, "Pig teammate." In order not to make her suspect, Su Xun said in a deep voice, "You exceed your abilities. Get out. I'm leaving, maidservant." Despite some discomfort, Haitang respectfully bowed and walked out. The beauty under the veil has a graceful posture. If it weren't for intentionally leaving a red birthmark on the forehead and blocking it with slanted bangs, who would have believed that such a woman is an ugly woman that people cannot avoid? Just as he was about to leave the door, Su Xun saw the system attribute panel clearly on top of her head. Name: Haitang, Health. 10086, Spiritual Power. 10110, Realm. Middle stage of foundation construction, Dandy Index. 0, Weapon. White Silk, Skills. Desperate Love Fu, Imperial Sword Technique, can we fly with swords only after building the foundation? I don't understand the cultivation world. The Dandy Index is 0, even if you know she is an insider, you cannot plunder her. It seems that this system is also a double-edged sword, which can pierce your humble heart and make you stronger. She won't be exposed for a while, keeping her may bring some benefits in the future. Damn it. Forgot to seal the demon seed on the male lead. Today, September 15th, the night of full moon will usher in his first demonic outburst. And his natural wing bone divine posture will also be peeped at. The original text is that Qingli happened to be serving Su Xun on this night. Qingyuan, who was invaded by demonic energy, was suppressed by several elders of the City Lords Alliance clan during the Golden Elixir period. When he woke up 7 days later, he saw the naked body of his sister. The lord of the city had a killing intent on him, and when he brought his sister's body to complain, no one in the city sympathized. There's still time to stop all of this now. As long as his demonic energy is sealed before he unleashes his power, there is still a glimmer of vitality in the entire Nanyang city. Qingyuan had already settled down, and the anxious Qingli on the side seemed to notice Su Xun's gaze. Her eyes flickered slightly, afraid to wake her brother up. She lowered her eyebrows and blushed as she approached him, lowering her voice. "Young lord, I will definitely fulfill what I have promised you. My brother's injury is not stable yet. Can you? The voice of a child, I don't know how she mustered up the courage to say these words. Stop it. Su Xun waved his hand and sighed, Lear, you have only been at my mansion for over half a year and may not know me very well. It was my fault before, but since you have paid the ransom, from today on, you are free. Qingli felt even more anxious when he said so. I don't know what tricks this pervert is playing, maybe there are even more vicious tricks. Suddenly, my breathing became rapid and I fell to my knees with a thud. Young lord, no matter how you want to punish me, as long as I don't involve anyone else, I am willing to die. Su Xun. This woman's heart is like a needle in the sea. Let her run, what's wrong with her? The corners of her mouth involuntarily twitched twice. Did this sudden change scare her? That's right too. Su Xun was very helpless, so he had to take out her promissory note and tear it up on the spot. Seeing that she was still stunned, she took out another pass token and gave it to her. With this item, you can freely enter and exit the Lord's mansion. It's getting late, hurry up and pack up your things and let's go together when your brother wakes up. Qingli. At the moment when the token was handed to her hand, she quickly wiped away her tears and took out a handkerchief to wrap it up. After knocking his head several times in a row, he said gratefully, the young lord is very kind, and the green oriole will repay him in the next life. She is very agile in her movements, and she only takes half a column of incense to tidy up her things. At this point, Su Xun had already finished regulating Qingyuan's breathing. The bruises on Qingyuan's body have gradually healed, but his tattered clothes still show what he has experienced. He didn't appreciate Su Xun, and the flames in his eyes were forcibly suppressed. Su Xun casually took a white brocade robe and changed it for him. The response received was only 2 cold words. Goodbye. The gates in the garden were opened one after another, and Su Xun followed behind them, feeling uneasy in his heart. Now let them go back. They come from a poor family and are far away from the crowd. With proper methods, they can significantly reduce the harm to innocent people caused by their demonic attacks. As long as you can shamelessly ask your father to come forward, everything is easy to say. Want to leave? It's not that easy. The sharp voice of a woman came from the magnificent carriage at the gate of Bieyuan. A stepmother in her early 40s who still exudes charm. The Qingyuan siblings have also been surrounded by more than a dozen guards, and for a while, their weapons are facing each other. How did this woman come back early? When Su Xun rushed over to clear the siege, both sides had already started fighting. At this moment, Qingyuan doesn't have much spiritual power at all. He learned a few moves from a mysterious master, and his realm is only in the early stage of qi cultivation. And Qingli was a group of powerless women who were quickly captured alive by them. Autumn Sanyang got off the carriage, dressed in gorgeous purple silk, with accessories weighing at least several pounds on her head. Although her cultivation is not high, she has captivated the Lord's father with her enchanting skills. As he walked forward step by step, his 3-centimeter-long nails cut through Qingyuan's face. Just as he was about to joke around, he was stopped by a resilient and powerful voice. Stop it. Su Xun drew his silver snake sword and pointed it at Qiu Sanyang, sternly saying, "They are my people. Please take care of yourself." Qiu Sanyang sneered at the corners of her mouth, and her jade finger pushed the blade away, casting her gaze at him. As the eyelashes pounce on the fan, the enchantment spell is instantly cast. But this move didn't work for Su Xun at all, instead it took a mouthful of saliva from him. Feeling embarrassed and angry, she scolded, "Su Xun, you've ruined my heir's cultivation and haven't even accounted for you yet. How dare you obstruct me? Believe it or not, I'll let your father kill you with his own hands." "Believe it." "Of course I believe it." Su Xun clapped his hands and sneered, "You still have the ability to coax him out of favor with your reckless efforts. However, if we don't let you suffer today, you don't even know this is my purple bamboo garden." Qiu Sanyang arrived in a hurry, only bringing some inexperienced subordinates. From the attributes on their heads, solving the problem together is not a big deal. The silver snake sword emerged, with a sword body as thin as cicada wings, like a venomous snake spitting out messages, forming 3 illusions in the air and sweeping towards the crowd surrounding Qin Yuan. Just 3 breaths of time, the attendant fell to the ground together, turning into a mist of blood in the sky. Detected host killing innocent, dandy index +5, Su Xun was horrified in her heart. As Bai Er had said, she hadn't seen him for a few days, and he was so terrifying. She sat on the ground in fear, afraid to move, afraid that Su Xun's sword would harm her. Taking back his sword, Su Xun wiped away the bloodstains on it and glanced at the stunned Qin Yuan, saying in a deep voice, "Don't leave quickly. Farewell." Watching the 2 of them leave, Su Xun couldn't figure it out for himself. He just waved his sword just to teach them a lesson and hurt them. "But my hands are not obedient and my hands are too heavy." Detected that the host has excessive resentment, please pay attention to convergence. Immediately, the system panel expands. Name: Su Xun, Sect. Nun, Health. 4720, Spiritual Power. 6200, Realm. Peak period of Qi cultivation, Dandy Index. 185, Weapon. Silver Snake Sword, Skill. Silver Snake Sword Technique. Please note that when your Dandy Index exceeds 500, you will receive unexpected punishment. Seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Demon Seed Attack, Demons Rise 4 times. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Demon Seed Attack, Demons Rise 4 times system, listen to my sophistry. That's really not my intention. Su Xun was really wronged. He had accumulated resentment in his body for a long time, and it was normal for it to burst out together after the new host occupied his body. Moreover, most of Su Xun's subordinates have homicide cases. Why are they innocent? Seeing Su Xun collecting his sword, Su Xun stumbled up and slipped back into the carriage. The coachman was also stunned, and with just one whip, he had already run for about 100 meters. The most important thing now is how to suppress the demonic nature inside Qin Yuan's body. The old city mainly returns to the mansion in the evening, and if there is any mistake during this period, it will be troublesome. After thinking for a moment, Su Xun had an idea. At dusk, Haitang had already lurked near a residential house consisting of 3 wooden houses in the outskirts of Nanyang City. The scenery is beautiful, but this small bungalow nestled by mountains and water is also quite comfortable to live in. After the Qin Yuan siblings finished their worship and returned, the smoke from the small kitchen was already rising. Although they lived a cold and simple life, the 2 of them remained calm. My younger sister only talks about the past, but Qin Yuan has made up her mind to go to the immortal sect to cultivate and avenge her foster parents once she is settled. Black clouds pass through, and the surrounding demonic energy gradually gathers. The barrier in the city cracks, and evil forces invade. The 2 siblings were eating happily, but suddenly Qin Yuan's eyes and pupils contracted, and his blood boiled and his whole body turned red. "Brother, what's wrong with you?" The Qingli was frightened and put down her bowls and chopsticks to explore him, but was instantly hit by the magic energy and hit the wooden door at the threshold before bouncing out again. This Qin Yuan's mind was in chaos, and his divine consciousness was forcibly pulled into his body to see the sealed demon seed inside. The demon seed is like a huge black egg, semi-transparent and frozen with a shadow of scattered hair. "Ha ha ha, you're finally here." The demon seed emitted strange laughter, as if Qin Yuan was just one of his prey. "Who are you?" Qin Yuan drew his long sword and pressed it against his chin, saying in a deep voice, "For many years, my nightmares have been constant. It must be you who did it. Today I will kill you. Kill me." The demon seed laughed even more wildly and said, "Great, you can give it a try. Qing Yuan ignored him, and after examining it, he became even more certain that his master, who had previously taught him martial arts, had mentioned the thing that sealed his body. As long as one's heart is firm, the other person will never be able to control themselves. He put away his sword, patted the demon seed's forehead twice, and then sat aside to meditate. The quiet heart mantra taught by his master was his best mental technique to suppress the violent energy in his body, and he quickly entered the state of selflessness. How could the demon seed possibly bring him success? In just one breath, 2 more elderly people appeared in the spiritual world. "You honor, come here, the candy cream that my mother made for you. You honor, these wooden clogs are perfect for going out for a spring outing." The bits and pieces of his former foster parents suddenly entered his mind, and Qing Yuan suddenly opened his eyes, seeing the foster parents smiling at him in front of him. And the scene below also turned into a familiar wooden house courtyard for a family of 4. Under the pear tree in the yard, they sat on stone benches. The next second, several thugs suddenly appeared around, taking the lives of 2 elderly people in an instant. "Dad! Mother!" Qing Yuan swung his long sword to stab, but couldn't find anything. Watching the 2 elderly people being drained of their essence and turned into bones by those people. "It's the Su family." Qing Yuan punched fiercely on the ground, and his blood and water rolled up his demonic energy, invading his lungs. Black mist appeared again in his eyes, and his meridian seemed to grow and spread like magical vines, until he looked like a terrifying tree monster. How could it happen prematurely? Su Xun lay on the roof, observing everything inside, feeling inexplicably fearful. The cold air struck, and he turned his head to see a masked woman in black blowing out a burst of red smoke and losing consciousness. "Are you young at all?" The masked woman casually threw Su Xun away. As she watched monsters invade the small wooden house under the black light on all sides, a faint smile appeared on her lips. In the cabin, Qing Yuan has been completely demonized. At this moment, coincidentally, Qiu Sanyang came with her son to seek revenge, preparing to kill Qing Yuanxiang and occupy Biaoli. As soon as he saw any movement, he rushed in. At this moment, facing the completely demonized Qing Yuan, he exclaimed regret. Qing Yuan stared at the mother and son, who retaliated with fearful eyes. The remaining dozens of people have been entangled by all the magic vines, drawing essence and blood from their bodies. Even if Qing Yuan was demonized, he never forgot his hatred towards this mother and son, making their deaths so easy. "Can't do it." His stretched vines wrapped around the arms of the 2 and forced them apart to hang. "What are you doing? You demon, why come at me and let my son go?" Even though Qiu Sanyang was extremely afraid in her heart, she still refused to give up on Su Bai. Even if there was a glimmer of hope, she wanted him to live on. The enchantment technique in the eyes is useless. She could only burst into tears and cry out, "Qing Yuan, as long as you release my son, I can satisfy you with any money or beauty. Even if you want the position of city lord, I will find a way for you." Qing Yuan. Su Bai was hanging upside down with stars in her eyes. She currently has no cultivation, and even though her wound quickly heals after taking medicine, her current physical condition cannot withstand any turmoil. The almost pleading voice said, "Qing Yuan, there is not much hatred between us. It's all Su Xun. If you want revenge, go find him. As long as you release me, our Su family's precious heavenly demon umbrella will definitely be presented with both hands." Qing Yuan remained silent, his body's demonic energy continued to rise, his body continued to expand, and he was about to break through the roof. "Brother." The Qingli was just slightly injured, so she crawled over and hugged his calf. The legs, which were shrouded in magical energy, gave rise to magical vines that entangled her. She did not resist, and in the face of sudden changes, she only hoped that her brother could wake up. Magic vine pierced through her skin, ready to draw her essence and blood. At this moment, a silver snake sword pierced through the vine, and the green oriole was embraced and disappeared into its embrace. And the hidden begonia also rushed in. Seeing the masked woman fighting against the demon seed, she joined in. Although the demon seed is powerful, it continuously absorbs the power of surrounding monsters under the bright moonlight and continues to grow. But at this point, the city lord has ordered people to start repairing the barrier and blocking the entry of monsters into the city. Haitang recognized a masked woman with high spiritual power and high prestige. But the two pretended not to know each other, but cooperated to suppress the demon seed. The demon seed gradually expanded inside the Qingyuan and quickly destroyed the entire wooden house. Fortunately, the surrounding population was sparse, and not many villagers were affected. Apart from houses being trampled on one by one, there were no casualties except for cattle, sheep, chickens, and dogs. The masked woman offered a string of blood-red beads, whispering softly in her mouth. "Blood demon beads, collect." I saw the blood magic bead spinning rapidly, forming a vortex in the air. The vortex grew bigger and bigger, and all the surrounding magic energy was sucked in. And the magic energy in Qingyuan's body could not resist the suction of the blood magic bead, and the magic energy was quickly withdrawn from his body. As if the whole body was torn apart, intense pain spread from the outside to the heart. For a moment, the resistance of the demon seed and the struggle of the blood magic bead formed two forces, and the whole person became furious. The rubble, sand and stones that were lifted up were flying in the sky, and the entire village was submerged. Damn it. The spiritual power is about to run out, and the blood demon beads are no longer under control. The masked woman vomited a mouthful of blood, causing the hands of the blood magic pearl to tremble continuously. Seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please, please. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. I send you away, thousands of miles away. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. I send you away, thousands of miles away. Haitang also showed a worried expression. This blood demon bead is a sacred item in the demon world, and her ability is simply unable to help trigger it. The magic extracted by the blood magic pearl at this time is already stronger than the magic energy in Qingyuan's body. The demon was convulsing, and Qingyuan's consciousness gradually became clear. At this moment, a golden carved magic umbrella rose up in the air, but in just one breath, it spread out like a curtain. The person who operates this powerful treasure behind the scenes is Su Xun. Su Xun's gaze was resolute, and he kept reciting the mnemonic of the trend. You should know, this is a treasure that has just been fraudulently obtained from my father. The power is beyond imagination. Seeing that this object was already suppressing the demonic energy in Qingyuan's body, Haitang was suddenly startled and looked at her accomplice. It's the heavenly demon umbrella. I have to withdraw. She quickly tidied up her veil and quickly dissipated her spiritual power. Without the crabapple, the masked woman's spiritual power is weak and her seal cannot be achieved. She can only retrieve the blood magic pearl. The demon seed inside Qingyuan was unable to resist the heavenly demon umbrella and was completely suppressed in less than half a pillar of incense. The wind and smoke have dissipated, and the night is already deep. Under the hazy moonlight, Su Xun used his spiritual power to sweep away the two of Qingyuan. Ding, host Dandy Index .50, lying trough. Do you remember in the original plot that night, the male protagonist was able to kill around 100 people and reduce his Dandy Index by 50 points by creating over 700 level floating beasts? Playing with me. But now, not only is it good to use the demon saint and her master to absorb so much demonic energy from Qingyuan's body, the next attack can be delayed by another 5 years. The heavenly demon umbrella has also been driven by itself, truly worthy of being the Lord's biological son. As for Qiu Sanyang and Su Bai, handing over the aftermath to their father is also considered a merit. Su Xun did not return to the dormitory, but spent the night with the Qingyuan siblings in the cave nearby. When the cool breeze blew into the cave entrance in the early morning, Qing Yuan shivered and woke up. "Sister, why are you here?" He opened his eyes and saw Qingli leaning against Su Xun's shoulder for the first time, and instinctively pulled her over. Qingli rubbed her eyes, feeling that her entire body was about to break. Her clothes were all tattered, wrapped tightly in her outer robe. "This. Is it the robe of the young lord?" Suddenly blushing with embarrassment, he lowered his eyebrows and said, Shao Qingzhu, thank you. Last night. Qing Yuan suddenly stood up, pulled his sister's sword and pointed at Su Xun. "Tell me, what did you do to my sister? Why are we here?" Su Xun. "I've been tinkering all night, and not only are you not grateful to me, but you've also labeled me as having ulterior motives." Su Xun didn't take a beating and kicked away the branches on the ground, with his back crossed and facing towards Qing Yuan. "Damn it, you didn't know that last night, in order to save you, I deliberately had someone signal the appearance of a magic object for Haitang. How many years would you have had a good life if you hadn't used both of them? You shamelessly asked Dad to take out all the household treasures, you bastard. Forget it. Since he is the male lead, I won't greet his family anymore." Qingli is also a clear-minded person in the world, and in just a few words, she cleared up the misunderstanding. However, Qing Yuan still has a lot of doubts. Will he be possessed by monsters? Is the dream real? If that's really the case, wouldn't it be like killing people all over the world and becoming eternal criminals in the future? Moreover, Su Xun is already a playboy. It's not impossible for him to use any means to confuse his sister. "Brother, what are you thinking?" The Qingli seemed to have seen through his thoughts and knew he was suspicious, so she emphasized again, "This time, you may have really misunderstood the young city lord. He really saved us. If he appears a little later, maybe I'll die in your hands." Since that's the case. Qing Yuan reluctantly arched his hand and said, "Thank you, brother. But," he raised his voice, "the grudge between you and me can be temporarily erased, but I will not give up on the 2 lives that the Su family owes me." That's right. From the perspective of Qing Yuan, Su Xun also hated the Su family and said frankly, "The evil deeds of Su Bai and Qiu Sanyang are indeed unforgivable, but the city lord is just an old fool. You will understand in the future. With your current abilities, not to mention revenge, even suppressing monsters in your body is impossible. All you can do now is enter the immortal sect and use righteousness to suppress evil. I have already figured out the way for you. Go to the 10,000 Sword Sect, the world's top immortal alliance. If you go there, even if you can't stand out, you can still rely on the immortal alliance to live a lifetime of glory. As for Qingli, there are 2 options. Either leave it to me to return to my mansion or join the immortal alliance with you." Qing Yuan sneered and said, "The top immortal alliance in the world only accepts you noble children. What qualifications do I have with just a plain cloth? Let's bid farewell and go my own way in the future. I will definitely repay the hatred of the Su family." The tone is quite loud. Su Xun was too lazy to argue with him and pointed to Qingli, saying, "Girl, you decide your own future. You have been serving me for so long, and if you ask me for help, I will definitely help. Wherever my brother goes, I will go." Qingli took Qing Yuan's arm and said foolishly, "Brother, Lear is not afraid of hardship. Even if she dies, she will follow her for a lifetime." "Silly girl." Qing Yuan touched her head and said, "You don't have any immortal talent. It's difficult to ascend to heaven if you want to cultivate immortality. Even if you connect your veins, you can only cultivate until you build a foundation at most. The immortal alliance is strict, and you will definitely not be recruited. Xian Meng won't admit her, but it's not a problem to be a sweeping girl." Su Xun took out a piece of gold and handed it to her. "This money is not for free. It can be considered as a loan for you to enter the immortal alliance. When you have money, give me the spirit stone." Qingli originally intended to refuse, but Qing Yuan stopped it. Arched his hand and said, "Brother Su is absolutely right. If you enter the Immortal Alliance without any personal belongings, you will definitely be bullied. The gift you gave today will be returned 10 times the next day. The road to the Immortal Alliance is long, and now your identity has been known by the Demon Clan. Let me give you a ride." Su Xun didn't say much. He opened the Heavenly Demon umbrella. A palm-shaped token made of black iron with a blue gemstone embedded in the middle was handed over. "This transmission is for you to hold. If there is anything you can call for help loudly, of course, I may not be able to save you." So. Su Xun took out his silver snake sword again and gave it to him. "This precious sword has been with me for 15 years, and it will be yours from now on. It can be considered a farewell gift. Qing Yuan. The silver snake sword is considered a priceless item in the eyes of ordinary people, and the sword energy around it can greatly enhance the owner's attack power. At the moment of catching the sword, the hatred toward Su Xun in my heart decreased a bit." Su Xun activated his spiritual power and opened the Heavenly Demon umbrella. The golden umbrella emitted a strong light, instantly drawing the siblings in. Qing Yuan's personality is definitely not going to be humiliated by Wanjian's sect. And an ancient and mysterious immortal alliance is his best destination. The Heavenly Demon umbrella transformed into golden light in the air, passing through the clouds and avoiding the sea breeze, and was quickly transported thousands of miles away. Ding! Host Dandy Index .50, the spiritual power attribute has been absorbed. Conversion successful. Name: Su Xun, Sect. None, Health. 5320, Spirit Power. 6900, Realm. Peak period of Qi cultivation, Dandy Index. 85, Weapon. Silver Snake Sword, Gifted, Skill. Silver Snake Sword Technique. Please maintain a good record and guide the protagonist to enter the fairyland as soon as possible. Your strength will always surpass the protagonist, he is stronger than you. The host has accelerated the development of the plot, bypassing numerous obstacles and going directly to the Immortal Sect Apprentice chapter, and their life trajectory has changed. Seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please. I recommend a new book on urban rebirth. If you like some children's shoes in the teaching industry, you can go and take a look. Rebirth also requires struggle, which is about real-life themes and has a very good writing style. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The Secret of the Heavenly Demon Umbrella. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The Secret of the Heavenly Demon Umbrella. This is a good development direction. Su Xun accelerated his pace and maximized the spiritual power stored in his father's body. The sky seems like a meteor passing by, swiftly passing by. Inside the Heavenly Demon Umbrella, even with powerful barrier protectors, the two were still squeezed by the airflow and unable to straighten their bodies. "Brother, isn't this speed too fast?" Qing Yuan couldn't help but blush and his stomach churned. He took out a transmission order and began to complain. "Not fast." Su Xun comforted him, "Driving at a speed like this was just a drizzle before me. When you get used to it in the future, you will still find it slow. But I can't stand it anymore." The Qingli covered her lips and arched her body, wanting to vomit. "Hello. This magic weapon is very expensive." Hearing that voice, Su Xun felt a little distressed. This baby carrying people is already a taboo, and now there is vomit inside. I don't know how to explain it to my dad even when I go back. Fortunately, half an hour later, the two of them arrived at their destination. In the future, their affairs, kind reminder. The fate of the host is linked to the male lead, and the plot has changed. If the male lead dies unexpectedly, the host will also be implicated. The punishment will depend on the situation, of course. If the host rises to the challenge, it can not only gradually lift this constraint. There is also a chance to obtain all the talents, adventures, and so on of the protagonist. The plot direction will change with the host's personal abilities. Wishing you a pleasant experience. Lying trough. Bundle sales, right. Okay. You have the guts to you want to scare me. Having read so many novels, the so-called punishment is all terrifying nonsense. And it also said that facing difficulties can change. Can wing bones be obtained? So what about women? Okay. However, as a newcomer, it's not a bad idea to play with the system first. If we talk about Qingyuan, he is the male lead. What danger can he encounter? Su Xun recalled the heavenly demon umbrella and leisurely returned to his own garden. If Haitang hasn't obtained the heavenly demon umbrella, she will definitely not give up easily. And this heavenly demon umbrella is not just itself, but also has 6 brothers. They are still missing, but they are contested by various hegemons. The most important thing is that if these 7 brothers were to come together, their power would be so devastating. At present, it's also a hot potato in my hand. If Haitang were to cleverly seize it, I wouldn't be a match at all. Go back to the main hall. Sooner or later, what should be faced must be faced. Nanyang City is already prosperous, with convenient transportation from north to south, beautiful mountains and rivers, and beautiful scenery. Moreover, with abundant spiritual energy and fertile soil, the immortal grass and spirit stones nurtured by it also have a certain influence throughout the entire Kyushu region. If it weren't for the blessings of our ancestors, the Su family, which has existed for generations, has a special bloodline and a corresponding sense of the heavenly demon umbrella series of treasures. Relying solely on the inferior cultivation of the descendants of this generation, I'm afraid the entire city has long been handed over to others. Su Xun trotted all the way through the moat of the main city, nodded to the silver-armored soldiers stationed at the city gate, and soon saw the Sakya-mani Hall. I don't know why ancient people like this name, but it looks very familiar. When they arrived at the entrance of the palace, the guards on both sides looked solemn but dared not make any noise. When Su Xun entered the palace, the first thing he saw was the old city lord with a dual-standard personality. He squinted his eyes slightly and leaned against the back of the chair sewn with white tiger demon skin, breathing and breathing. A little closer, you can see an extremely weak Chiu Sanyang lying on his lap. Sitting on a soft cushion covered with white long fluff, the fabric on his body was scratched several times, and the wound wrapped in gauze could be vaguely seen. And the 4 elders sitting on both sides closed their eyes tightly and sat to regulate their breath. Su Xun took a few steps forward, practicing the unique etiquette of touching the left shoulder collarbone with the palm of his right hand, and then knelt down on one knee. Lowering his head, he whispered, "My child, pay respects to your father. The demons outside have calmed down, come and return the treasure." "You villain." Before the city lord could speak, Chiu Sanyang suddenly regained her energy. She raised the corners of her mouth and scolded, "You still have the face to come back. Look at how everyone has been harmed by you." Su Xun ignored her and just observed his father's situation, which was indeed not a second. Has the skin of the mouth turned black, and although he is only in his 40s, his temples are grayish. Fortunately, this little old man is also quite handsome, coupled with a sapphire crown and a black brocade robe, he looks quite imposing. It's just strange. What's the danger if they fix the barrier properly? System warning. Danger. At this moment, the attribute panel quickly appeared on the Lord's head. Name. Su E, Sect. Nun, Health. 75320/45020, Spiritual Power. 76900/37913, Realm. Mid-Golden Elixir, Dandy Index. 50, Weapon. Heavenly Demon Umbrella, Main Skills. Heavenly Demon Wrath, Ghost Shadow Step, Heavenly Demon 9 Techniques, Health. 1. And when Su Xun looked at the other 4 elders, except for their different attributes, their health points were all 1. On the contrary, Qiu Sanyang's head did not show this one. What is the situation? What are you still staring at? Qiu Sanyang was so angry when she saw that he didn't even pay attention to her. She frowned and said, if you don't hand over the heavenly demon umbrella quickly, Brother Yi won't be able to hold on anymore. Su Xun still didn't speak and offered the heavenly demon umbrella. In just an instant, 3 golden threads shot out from the vertical handle of the heavenly demon umbrella, entangled Qiu Sanyang and pulled her over. And when she fell heavily to the ground, the golden thread suddenly turned black. Sanyang. Su Yi saw that she was in danger, so he didn't care if he hadn't finished breathing and flew down to hug her. The blackened golden thread was visible, and her pupils suddenly contracted. Her breathing became rough, and she was thrown to the ground again. Su Xun covered his mouth and chuckled, now you know there's a green grassland above your head. I saw the magic umbrella scatter on its own that day, and some vomit fell clattering onto Qiu Sanyang's face. She was so nauseous that she wiped her sleeves a few times, clapped her hands, and burst into tears. Sui showed no response and only withdrew the heavenly demon umbrella. Qiu Sanyang's face turned pale with anger, and she said angrily, Brother Yi, what are you doing? Qiu Nyang didn't care about being bullied by that beast so much. Su Yi glared at her and shouted out the door. Quickly, a maid walked in and saluted, what do the Lord have to say? Go and see if Su Bai is awake. Anyway, have someone carry him to the hall. Yes. Qiu Sanyang was dumbfounded. She didn't even know the secret of the heavenly demon umbrella. Why did her husband, who used to love her more than herself, suddenly change his attitude like this? However, she didn't worry, someone took care of her. After a while, Su Bai was carried up to the main hall by 4 servants with their beds. Seeing him wrapped in gauze like a mummy, Qiu Sanyang quickly pounced on him and said, by air, I will definitely recover the pain you've suffered. Su Yi's face turned black and he said in a deep voice, pull Qiu Sanyang away. Yes. Quickly, he took out a dagger casually, hesitated for a moment, and slowly walked towards Su Bai. Brother Yi, what do you want to do? Qiu Sanyang was so anxious that she exerted all her strength to break free from blocking Su Bai and said, if you want to kill by air, why don't you kill me first? She tearfully said, that's right, I did something wrong to you, but by air is innocent. You can't kill him. Get lost. Su Yi didn't look directly into her eyes, pulled her apart, and with a knife in his hand, he cut a cut in Su Bai's finger. Grab the heavenly demon umbrella and drop a drop of blood onto it. How could this be? Su Xun felt it was a bit unbelievable. According to the original plot, it was impossible for such a result to occur. Seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please, please. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Is the status not guaranteed? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Is the status not guaranteed? Although Su Bai was not Su Yi's biological, the blood droplets on it did not change color at all. Instead, it emitted a golden light. That's the golden light that can only be emitted by the heavenly demon umbrella to recognize its master. Su Yi's eyebrows relaxed and she smiled as she caressed Su Bai's head, saying, child, you've suffered. However, this does not mean that he forgave Qiu Sanyang, her betrayal is beyond doubt. Sanyang. Su Yi said coldly, normally, I treat you well. For the sake of your hard work in giving birth to Bai Air, I can spare your life. From now on, you will be with Qingdang Ngufua for a long time, and you will never step out of Nanyang Temple. Nanyang Temple is the largest temple in the city of Nanyang, and it is also a place where major nobles punish disloyal wives, concubines, and servants. Years of resentment are reborn, and ghosts wreak havoc. Su Yi's decision reflects the most intolerable aspect of men. Su Xun pondered that even if Qiu Sanyang was punished, Su Bai was valued more by Su Yi. Isn't my future position as the young city lord guaranteed? Upon closer inspection, it seems that the heavenly demon umbrella is experiencing such an abnormality, and there must be a high-level figure playing tricks in the dark. Watching it change is the best way to protect oneself. Two servants pulled Qiu Sanyang down, while Su Yi's gaze was fixed on Su Bai. He had a complex expression, mixed with joy and sorrow, and turned to anger toward Su Xun, saying, "Rebel son. I'm not dead yet, you just want to usurp the throne. Son is unjust." Su Xun spread his hands and said, "I just came to return the umbrella. Why is my father angry?" Su Yi regained his senses, and so did he. This child has always been careless in cultivation, so how could he possibly know the secret of the heavenly demon umbrella? He borrowed an umbrella also because he was momentarily obsessed with lust, and he never liked Su Bai. Anyway. Su Yi raised the heavenly demon umbrella high and announced, "From today on, I will inherit the heavenly demon 9 techniques to the young city lord Su Bai. The person of Tianding, protect me from Nanyang Yongchang." At this moment, the 4 elders also finished breathing and bowed to the heavenly demon umbrella. "I disagree." An old and energetic voice came, and everyone turned around to look. An old woman with white hair and a golden snake cane walked straight and briskly. Although over 200 years old, he is still energetic and has no wrinkles or spots on his face. Although their eyes are yellow, they still have vitality, their speech is clear, and their temperament is tough. The simple and elegant gray robe made the whole person look very withered. But she was fierce and couldn't even keep up with the 4 maids following behind along the way. "Isn't this too, Grandma?" Su Xun's furrowed brows suddenly widened. With her arrival, there must be a turning point in the matter. And Su Yi and the 4 elders could only respectfully perform their worship rituals. Lying motionless on the bedboard, Su Bai felt extremely happy in his heart, but now he has fallen to a low point and his face is as pale as ashes. I saw grandmother come in and grab the heavenly demon umbrella, scolding, "I believe in justice, how can evil and filth be tolerated?" Reciting words in your mouth, unleashing your spiritual power, using a golden snake cane as a magic weapon to hang in the air and continuously inject pure golden mist. Miraculously resonated between the two connected. The next moment, the originally golden drop of blood suddenly turned black. This admiration surprised all 4, and Su Yi's forehead was covered in beads of sweat. Right now, Grandma took Su Xun's hand and gently stroked it with her fingers. A drop of bright red blood was split in half and entered into the golden snake wand and the heavenly demon umbrella, respectively. When blood merges with magical tools, it emits a dazzling golden light. Su Xun gently waved his sleeve, and both magic tools recognized the master at the same time. Grandma Tai breathed a sigh of relief and said, "More than 200 years have passed. It seems that I should also go with my late husband. If the descendants of the Su family don't improve themselves, they will probably be wiped out." "Grandma, don't say that." Su Yi quickly came over to support her and said, "Although your cultivation will always remain in the early stage of the golden elixir, you are still considered a semi-immortal with a lifespan of over 1,000 years. Now that Suner is still young, it is not appropriate to teach him the golden snake wand." Grandma Tai shook her head and smiled bitterly, "We don't have time anymore." The day before yesterday, the invasion of the demon clan appeared to be suppressing, but in reality, it left behind even greater calamity. "My child, I'm afraid the Su family will experience a bigger catastrophe." She looked at Su Xun with a bitter expression and said, "Now that this grandson is still in the Qi training stage, it's probably impossible to expect him to protect Nanyang City. We can only do our best for Su Xun. Isn't there still a few years left for the Nanyang City massacre? Why doesn't it work? Moreover, everyone is already rewriting the ending now, where are so many troubles. It's strange." In the main hall, Su Bai's eyes emitted red flames, and then her body began to expand. Is he going to be demonized in advance? Danger reminder, the original plot has been rewritten. Host, please pay attention to personal safety. Kind reminder, if anyone in the vicinity is willing to voluntarily contribute, please pay attention and observe. Dedication. Su Xun unconsciously shifted his gaze to Grandma Tai. Sure enough, an attribute box appeared above her head. Name. Nun, Sect. Nun, HP, 55320/50020, Spiritual Power. 39,000/32,000, Realm. Early Golden Elixir, Dandy Index. Nun, Weapon. Golden Snake Staff, Main Skills. Golden Snake Staff Technique, Xun Step, Golden Snake 7 Techniques, Health. 0, Feature. Dedication, Good guy, at least it's to Grandma. I never thought I could only be a tool person, not even giving a name. Just as Su Xun finished looking at the panel, Su Bai had completely demonized and turned into a black monster like a tree demon. Su Yi quickly suppressed it together with the 4 elders, but the amount of the demon's body was even more terrifying than the strength of Qin Yuan's body at that time. After realizing something was amiss, Grandma Tai pulled Su Xun aside and meditated, crossing her entire life's cultivation. Power dedication detected, accelerated. Absorbed and currently breaking through. A ruthless machine. I saw Grandma Tai's body disappear into the hall, but her soul turned into a beam of blue light and penetrated into the golden snake staff. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the early stage of foundation construction, breaking through. Seeing that the 4 elders and the city lord around were about to hold on, Haitang unexpectedly came uninvited. She did not reveal her identity immediately, but observed it. There's hope. After Su Xun finished adjusting his breath, he stood up. A moment of dizziness made me stumble a few times, my blood surged to the sky, and my whole body was filled with strength. He extended an arm and said, "Begonia, you're here just in time, help me." Haitang ignored her, her spiritual power had already been activated, and it was an opportunity to seize the treasure. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the mid-term of foundation construction. Breaking through, Begonia. Su Xun increased his volume and offered the golden snake staff, emitting powerful spiritual power. Haitang was startled. Why did the young city lord suddenly experience a surge in his realm? No, I can't handle so much anymore. If we don't take action now, we'll wait a little longer. The blue aperture gradually grew stronger in her right hand, and the mist gathered more and more. Begonia. Su Xun put away the heavenly demon umbrella and shot the golden snake staff at the begonia like an arrow, seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please, please. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. 2 People vs. Magic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. 2 People vs. Magic. The golden snake wand pierced through the hair of the begonia tree and pierced straight into the demon's body. Ah! A loud roar shook the entire hall, causing rubble, sand, and stones to flow down and the monsters to enter a frenzy. The begonia veil was pierced, revealing cherry lips. She immediately regained her weak and unwell state. And the monster hit by the golden snake wand sprayed green liquid from the waist, which was extremely corrosive, and the splashed area cracked completely, emitting a hissing sound. Surprisingly, it is a demonizing demon with double-sided attacks. It can parasitize or corrode its own body, making it usable. Su Yi's eyebrows furrowed tightly. Currently, his strength has not recovered, and the elder sect is already old. It is feared that he will be doomed today. The demon stretched out countless black vines and attacked everywhere, while the golden snake staff was pulled out by him and attacked Su Xun. Be careful. Su Yi, with quick eyes and quick hands, flew over and caught the golden snake staff with bare hands. And the green liquid stained on the golden snake staff instantly corroded his right hand, revealing a strong white bone. He suppressed the pain and controlled the golden snake staff to counterattack. The golden power condensed from Su Xun's dantian has been elevated. Congratulations to the host for breaking through to the late stage of foundation construction. Breakthrough failed, obtain temporary golden pill peak power, lasting for half a pillar of incense time. Oh, dare you say this is not a system trick? Su Xun used his spiritual power to once again offer the heavenly demon umbrella. The demon seemed to feel the power of intimidation and gathered its magic to attack Su Xun. Countless vines attacked like bayonets, layer upon layer, leaving Su Xun with nowhere to escape. Heavenly Demon Umbrella, Shield Mode. I saw a shield instantly extending from the pure golden umbrella surface, constantly shooting golden light needles to attack the demon Tang. And Su Xun also mastered the beginner-level technique, Heavenly Demon Wrath, in the last battle. Hold the umbrella handle and use the power of the umbrella bones to unleash a demonic roar. The first move of Heavenly Demon Wrath, 10,000 Skeletons Technique. Sound waves condense air and form countless white transparent skeletons around, attacking the demon. The sound of metal collision emitted by the seemingly virtual skull hitting it was a layer-by-layer splashing sparks. At the place where the sparks fell, a skeleton with an axe continued to chop towards the vine, forcing the demon to retreat step by step. It is truly an imperial-level martial art, the first move is so impressive. Su Xun didn't stop, and then he performed the second move. Serious, kill me. With the umbrella handle as the center, countless illusory wolf shadows instantly condensed, quickly spreading around the demon like ghosts and biting. Ah! The monster let out a mournful scream, and under the powerful attack, its body, which was over 2 zhang tall, quickly shrank. But it did not compromise, but fought back. Take the initiative to cut open your body, and the green liquid inside sprays out like a fountain. You guys, hurry up. Su Xun shouted loudly, I have the heavenly demon umbrella to protect me. If you stay here, you will only become a burden. Let's go. Without hesitation, Sui quickly withdrew with several elders, while the golden snake staff remained in the main hall. Damn it. There are too many corrosive substances, and one's spiritual power cannot be maintained for long. The ground has been corroded layer by layer and turned into acidic dust. The entire hall was scorched and shrouded in black smoke, making it impossible to see where the main body of the demon was. In order to prevent my body from being corroded, I can only rely on the protection of the heavenly demon umbrella and cannot actively search for it. In this way, it becomes too passive. The monster let out a strange laugh, and at this moment, Su Bai's consciousness also became much clearer. I hate my brother on weekdays, but today I will definitely eliminate him first and then quickly. Right now. The yin and yang wheels were worshipped and flew quickly from behind Su Xun. When they were taken into his body, they split in half to absorb Su Xun's spiritual power. Yin-yang star absorbing technique. I never thought he could use the power of monsters to restore cultivation. But everything is too late. Xun step. The fairy steps from Granny Tai seem to take on a different posture under the dance of a man. Seemingly a 9 heavenly empress, but with steady steps and a balance of strength and softness. Dodge the attack of the yin-yang wheel and quickly dodge to the golden snake staff. How can a demon satisfy his wishes? Brewing a bubble of green liquid, it enveloped the golden snake staff and made it impossible to escape. Disgusting. Su Xun roasted that he saw a white silk thread rolled up and took away the golden snake staff. Begonia. What are you doing here? It's dangerous. Su Xun shouted at Bai Ling's retreat, it's too late, young master. Haitang threw the golden snake staff and accurately delivered it to him. Quickly destroy this demon. Countless demons are gathering outside the city now. If you are summoned by this demon again, the people in the city may suffer. Haitang's eyes were filled with a worried expression, stretching out 2 white ribbons to fight against the demon. You have a conscience. Su Xun smiled at the corner of his mouth and had already offered the golden snake staff and the heavenly demon umbrella, working together with his left and right hands. Golden snake emerges, entangled. I saw a golden snake, more than 10 meters long, transform from its golden snake staff and fly towards Su Bai, entangled. The third move of heavenly demon wrath, demon feather assassination. Countless gray and black feathers shot out, pinning Su Bai's entire body. Begonia white silk attacks, locking the soul of monsters. 3 unfeeling poems, destruction. Boom. After a moment of expansion, the monster exploded into fragments and disappeared completely. However, Su Bai's soul was not locked and was pulled away by a mysterious force, disappearing. At the moment of defeating the demon, Su Xun's spiritual power was exhausted and he collapsed like a deflated balloon. And Hai Tang took the opportunity to cover herself with a veil and escape the scene. Sooner. Sui rushed in, completely disregarding his already disabled right hand, and carried him out with one hand. With a bang, the Sakya Mani Hall collapsed. Su Yi's nose soured and he didn't turn his head as he took the person to the side hall. When Su Xun woke up again, Su Yi was wearing a bandage and smiling at him. And a corrosive smell seeped into Su Xun's nostrils. Looking at the attribute box above his head, the health item changed from 1 to 5. Does this mean he can still live for 5 years? Struggling to get up, at least this guy also poured out his spiritual power to save himself. If his life really isn't long, wouldn't he be sorry for his original self? Sooner, it seems that you have already recovered. Su Yi smiled and said, on that day, you defeated the monsters with your own strength, and it has spread throughout Nanyang City. I'm afraid you will need to protect the entire city from now on. As a father, I have decided to impart my lifelong knowledge to you. In the future, you may have to endure some hardships. As he spoke, he handed the heavenly demon umbrella to Su Xun's hand, his face full of ups and downs. And then you can say goodbye to the responsibilities of these countless years and go home alone, right? With a stern expression, Su Xun returned the heavenly demon umbrella to him and said, don't even think about it. You look like you have a strong poison in your body, and I will definitely find a way to detoxify you. I haven't done enough, Xiaoyao young master. Let me be this hard-working and ungrateful city lord. Don't even think about it. You silly kid, how can you talk to your father? No big or small. Is the voice actually that of the late grandmother? Su Xun quickly got out of bed and looked around. Grandmother, are you still alive? That's really great. Your golden snake staff is not easy to use. There are many things I need to learn from you. Seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Unexpected Marriage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Unexpected Marriage. Silly kid, where are you looking? The old man's voice was slightly teasing. Grandma, I have given you all my life's cultivation, can there still be a physical entity in front of you? No entity. Su Xun's gaze turned to the golden snake staff brought by his father and leaning against the table. Su Yi touched his beard and smiled. Sooner, your great progress in cultivation is a joyful event, and it is also a kind of liberation for your great-grandmother. Su Xun. How do you say this? Your grandmother is already old, and now all her divine consciousness is infused into the golden snake staff. Not only can she boost weapon attack power, but she can also absorb enemy spiritual power through battles and recast her body for cultivation. The soul is immortal. If you are lucky, you can cultivate your true body in about 1,000 years. At that time, you can practice like a normal person, and breaking through the golden elixir is unknown. Judging from Su Yi's appearance, it doesn't seem like she's deliberately comforting herself. The golden snake staff actually has a certain connection with the heavenly demon umbrella and its brothers. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, ancient deities forged the golden snake staff by fusing the leftover scraps from them. That divine statue was given to his wife for use back then, and has been passed down from generation to generation, making it a particularly remarkable treasure. The original work also mentioned that this object played a special role in a certain war. So, Su Xun looked at his father in confusion and said, "Are you going to do this? You are the only child of the Su family, and everything in the future belongs to you. I will pass on these two treasures to you." Su Yi spoke and took out a letter from her arms, saying, "In 2 months, you will be getting engaged," and coincidentally Meyer has also replied. Take a look. Engagement. Su Xun received the letter with a special fragrance with a wooden tone. The fiancée Yi Meyer mentioned by my father is not a good thing. Marry her. Impossible. He peeled off the wax seal of the gilded paper, which was exclusively made of black bamboo paddles by the Wanjian sect and had a certain spiritual power. Only designated personnel can see the handwriting inside. After opening the letter, he silently recited. "Brother Sun, I haven't seen you in March, I miss you so much. Meyer has recently been promoted to the middle stage of foundation construction and has obtained another treasure. I will soon visit my relatives in Nanyang City, and all the people and treasures will belong to my brother. I heard that there are capable people in my brother's mansion with wing bones. If my brother is willing to take the wing bone as a gift, Meyer is willing to marry down and never give up for life. If not, we can discuss the marriage again." He. Su Xun sneered and lit the letter, sighing, "Father, I'm afraid the marriage you've worked so hard to maintain will turn yellow." "I can't yellow." Su Yi touched his beard and said with a smile, "During the 7 days you've been asleep, my father has long known about the existence of wing bones in Qingyuan. It's just that others disappeared when the monsters attacked that day. It's probably a bit difficult to find. After Meyer arrives, please stabilize her first. If you can dig out the wing bones and search for her, even if you want to climb to the fairyland in the future, it's unknown." Su Xun didn't want to take the conversation and change the topic. "Let's talk about it when she comes. Your injury is important now. I'll go out of the city to find the elixir for you. Sooner." Su Yi saw through his thoughts at a glance and said, "Escaping is useless. One Jianzong is currently the top immortal alliance in the world. And Yi Meyer is the daughter of the first peak. If you can marry her, it will be your blessing. When you become relatives, go to the 10,000 sword sect to cultivate. I don't have much time left, I can rest assured with the protection of the 10,000 sword sect. Can I tell you that the Wanjian sect is declining?" Su Xun sneered and said, "Master of Nanyang City, young master, in the end, we still need a woman to protect us. Dad, don't you think it's ridiculous? And that woman has a big appetite, maybe Nanyang City is just her passing stone." Pop. A loud slap hit Su Xun's face, and Su Yi scolded. Throughout history, marriages have always been to consolidate power in various aspects. Moreover, what kind of trouble can she cause as a woman? As long as you let her have a few children, she will have to listen to you obediently in the future. I used to indulge you, but marriage matters cannot be trifled with. If you want to take a concubine or become a maid, both can satisfy you, but the legitimate wife must be Yi Meyer. Su Xun covered his face and glared at him. Don't bother to pay attention to this stubborn donkey temper. The child knows that since his father is currently unharmed, his son will return to Zizhu Biayuan for cultivation first. He picked up the golden snake staff and said, I'll take this treasure first. The heavenly demon umbrella has tremendous power, so let's protect Dad first. After speaking, he left without looking back. What does it look like to use an umbrella as a weapon, big man? Turning back, this staff also melted and recasted. Men should play with knives, play with swords. As soon as he walked out of the main hall, the transmission signal on his waist lit up. Su Xun quickly took it out and swiped it with his fingertip spiritual power. An urgent voice came from inside. Young lord, it's not good. Brother, he's being surrounded by a group of snow wolves to save me. He's bleeding a lot. Snow wolf. Whether it's the 10,000 sword sect or the Imperial Windgate, there can't be such a low-level monster. Don't worry. Su Xun stabilized her and said, what is the current situation? 3 snow wolves attacked my brother, already. Already. Ah. What a hassle. Su Xun used his spiritual power to directly convert the transmission command into the water mist mirror mode. From the inside image, it can be seen that Qin Yuan is fighting with 3 snow wolves with a silver snake sword. The body of a snow wolf is twice as large as that of a regular wolf, and its attack power can rival that of a mid-chi training wolf. 2 of the snow wolves have been seriously injured, while the slightly larger snow wolf in the middle has an advantage. This silly kid, haven't you even comprehended the silver snake sword technique? Taking advantage of the limited number of people around, Su Xun quickened his pace and walked towards his own garden. Although that Qin Yuan seems to have a disadvantage, his current posture is clearly planning to fight back. Su Xun jumped onto the beam of the house, carefully observed the movement, and then passed on a message. Throw the transmission order to your brother, and I will teach him the mind technique. With a loud bang, the image became blurry. This woman couldn't have dropped the messenger on the ground, could she? But soon, the image became clear again, and Qin Yuan's big eyes leaned over and said, you quickly teach me the 3rd move of the silver snake sword technique. This snow wolf is not easy to deal with. Listen carefully to me. Su Xun quickly explained his mind technique, and Qin Yuan also learned and used it skillfully, wielding the silver snake sword in his hand. The 3rd move, the flying snake, comes out of the hole. I saw Qin Yuan swiftly wielding his sword, like a small whirlwind rushing past the piercing snow wolf's eyebrows. Retrieving the sword momentum, another punch hit the snow wolf's forehead. The snow wolf on the left pounced and Qin Yuan kicked it out, then used his strength to fly up and thrust down, hitting the snow wolf's spiritual cover. It's a few more flying swords, combined with mental techniques to swiftly slay the 3 wolves. Qingli pounced and said, brother, are you okay? It's okay. Qin Yuan's right arm was seriously injured, but Ren smiled and comforted his sister. Be careful. Su Xun shouted, there is still a wolf behind you. The 4th move of the silver snake sword technique, the ultimate kill. Qin Yuan reacted extremely quickly, pushing away his sister and quickly counterattacking Snow Wolf under Su Xun's guidance. But the Snow Wolf killed this time has its own differences. Su Xun carefully glanced at the Snow Wolf's eyebrows and exclaimed in surprise, quick, break open its head. Seeking tickets and collecting them. Supported, updated with motivation, please, please. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Infinite Gate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Infinite Gate, Click and Wipe. As the sword fell, the head of the Snow Wolf split in half, and a semi-transparent crystal flew out, emitting a faint glow. It's white crystal. Su Xun excitedly said, although the quality is a bit poor, it happens to be able to improve your cultivation for you now. White crystal. Qin Yuan frowned and said, what exactly is it? Crystal stone, spirit stone, and elemental stone can all improve cultivation. Although this one is white now, it is very pure. Follow my method to meditate, regulate breathing, and gather qi in the elixir field. Harmony of qi and blood throughout the body, and unblocking of hundreds of meridians, form an air mask throughout the body, then use spiritual power to absorb crystal energy. From thousands of miles away, one could see Su Xun's anxiety, fearing that Qin Yuan might make a mistake and lose all his previous efforts. Fortunately, Qin Yuan was very eager to absorb the energy of the white crystal, and there was a call for a breakthrough between breathing and breathing. Su Xun popularized knowledge to him, and crystals were classified from low to high into several types. White, green, blue, yellow, orange, red, purple, and black. Generally, some elite monsters may contain natural crystals. He was lucky enough to get high purity as soon as he arrived. You should know that absorption also carries certain risks. If encountering something that needs to be refined again, forceful absorption will only have the opposite effect. After absorbing the energy of the white crystal, Qing Yuan slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid gas. In the Dantian area, the spiritual energy of the golden pill is lush, surrounded by the aura of gold. Suddenly, the whole body feels incredibly comfortable. "Brother, you broke through." Qingli exclaimed happily, "Brother, you're amazing. Now, there's hope for the competition with second senior brother." "Competition? What is the situation?" Through the transmission order, Su Xun asked, "What exactly happened these past few days?" Returning to the young lord, Qingli explained, "You kindly sent us to Wanjian's sect that day, but Wanjian's sect was too powerful. No matter how hard my brother tried, he wouldn't let us in. By chance, we walked to the Imperial Wind Gate and entered the Jade Bone Peak. But the silver snake sword you gave to my brother has caused him trouble. There is a new disciple of Yugu Peak named Changli, who is always making things difficult for my brother. Born from a humble family, he happened to say that my brother is a thief. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to contact you in the past few days, so." Jade Bone Peak. Su Xun heard it in mist. In the original work, didn't Qing Yuan go to Jade Flute Peak after being despised by Wan Jianzong? Moreover, that Changli is not a good thing. Damn it. The protagonist is in danger. Su Xun urgently shouted, "Qing Yuan, show me your tongue." Qing Yuan. He didn't follow suit, just changed the topic and said, "What happened just now, thank you. But the most important thing for us now is how to get out of here. You are well informed, do you know that there is a teleportation port behind the forbidden area behind the Yufeng Gate, connecting a small world?" Walter. Su Xun became even more anxious and said, "How did you get scammed into this place?" "There are two portals behind the forbidden area that I remember, one is the Ghost Realm and the other is the Infinite Gate. The Phantom Realm is easy to deal with, and even those with a firm mind can find an exit. But the Infinite Gate is dangerous, and every 2 hours it will refresh a monster that is stronger than the person who challenges it. Unlimited refresh. If you want to come out, damn it, I'll really forget the methods written in the book for a while." Puff. A mouthful of dark red blood spat out from Qing Yuan's mouth, and then he began to feel dizzy, weak, and collapsed in Qingyi's arms. This frightened Qingli and shouted at the messenger, young lord, come up with a way to save your brother." "Don't worry." Su Xun furrowed his brows and said, "First stabilize him and let his emotions stabilize." During the intimate contact between the two, Qingli blushed with embarrassment and felt a bit at a loss. Although Qing Yuan is his older brother, he is not his own brother. Over the years, the emotions he has invested have long surpassed those of siblings. "My brother is in trouble and I wish I could die for him." Seeing his eyes congested, the poison in his body was intense, and his body was burning like a blazing fire. There is no growth around, and in the void world, besides weeds, there are distant lakes. Surrounded by darkness, I dare not explore recklessly. Seeing his body tremble from a slight tremble to a violent one, I had to hold on to him tightly and cry for my brother to calm down. In this way, it has indeed calmed down a lot. After a stick of incense, the area of the distant lake expanded, and it was less than 100 meters away from the two people. "Got it." Su Xun suddenly shouted, "The method to crack the Infinite Gate, as long as you can achieve the state of selflessness and selflessness. Consider each other as dust, and then you can break through the barrier and teleport it out." Qingli let go of her arm and shook her head, saying, "Young lord, what exactly should we do?" "First, take off your clothes and naturally blend into this world." "This." Qingli shook her head desperately. "This is absolutely not possible. My brother and I are innocent, we cannot. Aren't you willing to sacrifice yourself for your brother's sake? I'm not asking you to trespass now, I'm just trying to find a way for you all to go out. What are you being so sentimental about? Su Xun was so angry that she wanted to curse. She was still feeding mosquitoes on the roof, but she was fine. At this moment, she pretended to be reserved. There must be other ways, right? Qingli sobbed, if my brother's reputation is not guaranteed, I would rather die. It's all dead again. There is a way, but this girl is afraid of water. Seeing her stubborn appearance, Su Xun could only say, take him to the lake and follow my instructions. No, water, I'm afraid. Qingli shook her head vigorously and kept saying, no, I'm afraid. At this moment, Qingyuan had already improved a lot. He smiled and comforted his sister, don't be afraid, I will protect you. Upon hearing her brother speak, Qingli seemed to have taken a calming pill and immediately lifted her brother up. The two of them arrived at the lake together. You listen to my command. Su Xun said calmly, place your hands in the water, lean back, keep your mouth and nose above the water surface for slow ventilation. When sinking, close your mouth, let your nose out, push the water slightly, and wait for it to float up. At first, Qingli obediently followed suit, but as soon as she got into the water, her hair didn't calm down when it touched the surface of the water. My hands were not obedient, hitting water splashes. No. She rushed ashore, hugged her head and squatted down. Brother, I'm afraid. Su Xun patted his forehead, it was really a headache. We can only rely on Qingyuan. Su Xun raised his voice and said, you are now in contact with the water, and you have already accelerated the monster's refresh rate. If you don't come out quickly, there will only be a dead end. Qingyuan had no choice but to go over again to comfort his sister. But this time my sister didn't listen to anything and was extremely afraid of the water surface. As time passed by bit, Su Xun became anxious and said, Qingyuan, can you listen to me? If this continues, how can you justify your adoptive parents? Don't you also look for your biological parents? Qingyuan had not yet shown any particularly strong emotions, but Qingli suddenly mustered the courage to walk to the lake. Come again. Okay. Su Xun raised the corner of his mouth and loudly said, repeat the previous steps. Yes. Next, let your body relax in the water. After you have fully inhaled, slowly tilt your head back to avoid concentrating your body's center of gravity on the lower part of your body. At the same time, adjust the rhythm of your breathing so that only when you inhale, air is stored in your chest cavity, filling it with air so that you can naturally float up. What would you do if you had a drag on your sister? Dear reading friends, please support me. Request tickets, collect, and read after. End of this chapter.